And 10, free roam. From the state of play trailer, we can all be fairly certain the game will be free roam, since we see Gregory's perspective of visiting Chica's playpen, Monty's mini golf, and the main area of the Pizzaplex in that trailer. This will be the first real free roam game from the Five Nights at Freddy series, if this is true, with the closest thing to free roam so far being the Corn Maze minigame from FNAF Help Wanted's DLC. There are also some who say the game kinda looks unfinished, particularly in Chica's playpen, so this could very well just be a developer mode of the map where you can walk around, but I think it's fairly safe to say that this will be a free roam game. Also, I'm not including FNAF World as free roam because it's not a main series game, just the spin-off, and we don't talk about it. And a 9, security guard furry. The security guard from Security Breach has appeared multiple times in the advertising leading up to the main release of the game. She was turned into promo art on Scott's main website, she was turned into a Funko statue for the game along with Vanny, and she appears twice in the State of Play trailer that we saw at the PlayStation event. We're also pretty sure her name is Vanessa. However, the fact that we believe her to be Vanny is still just a theory, not fact yet. Sure, it's a very convincing theory and has plenty of evidence, but it's still just a theory until the game comes out and confirms it. The Funko statue does indicate that the security guard and Vanny are the same person, or at least connected, and the fact that we are hiding from the security guard in the trailer makes it seem even more suspicious. Maybe Gregory ends up finding out about this secret double life she's living, kinda like Hannah Montana. Because, you know, she didn't reveal that every episode. I at first thought we'd be related to the security guard, but I don't think so anymore. Unless we're playing hide and seek with the guard, who could be a relative of some sort. And that's how the game starts out. And it ain't relative. The theory going around after the State of Play trailer is really about who Gregory is. He must be related to someone working at the company, right? Not necessarily the security guard though. I mean, this kid is there after dark, knows where the security room is, and the most damning piece of evidence is the fact that he has a watch that has access to all, or at least the surrounding cameras in the facility, even if those cameras are malfunctioned, at least from what I can assume in the trailer. Who would be able to do that other than the son of someone working at the company, like a security guard or a hacker, and I'm pretty sure this kid isn't a genius Da Vinci Code hacker. How else would he have that much information about the Pizzaplex on his watch? Honestly, he could have swiped it from the security room. Or he could just be the kid of the new owner. At this point, both Henry and William are dead or thought to be, so the IP of Freddy Fazbear and all the others would be out in the public domain or transferred to the next of kin, who would 100% sell off that for any form of profit. Maybe even to the first guy who came asking, since the name of Freddy Fazbear was so tarnished by William Afton, their monster relative, or the partner of their relative, depending on who's next of kin. And it's 7, Sun and Moon Man. The second trailer for the games introduced yet another animatronic to the roster in the form of Sun Man. I don't think there is an official name, but if you pay attention you can see the face of the Moon Man present on the Sun guy. So what if this isn't a new animatronic but rather a new form? The animatronic could have 2 different modes for night and day. It's nothing new. The animatronics have had 2 different modes for day and night since the beginning, hence why they could walk around at night. They were put into just free roam mode, not entertainment mode. So a little color change and a face swap wouldn't be too much to ask from the series. These people have had such advanced technology for when this should have been taking place, so like this isn't really anything that's far-fetched for this series. They literally had robots that could change to look like people, and like what it was it the 80s or the 90s? And then those sound discs that they came, look, they had phones when in the 20s. And at 6, statistics. The trailer shows us 2 shots very close together, Monty breaking down a fence gate, but then Roxanne not being able to break it down. This suggests to me that the animatronics will have different stats like D&D characters. They'll each have their own strength, awareness, and speed, with Roxanne probably being the fastest and Monty being the slowest, with Chica being right in the middle. Man, I wish I was stuck in the middle with her. Fantasies aside, the different animatronics will probably have their own strengths and weaknesses that we'll be able to exploit within the game. I'm sure that Roxanne will be able to see in the dark perhaps, or maybe that'll be Montgomery since his area is the mini golf and it's all like neon, you know, you get it. Chica probably has a really good sense of smell, but you can use that to cook or burn something in the kitchen that will distract her and make her rush to stop the burning, because she's all about food and making me happy. I'm sure we'll find out more about this later on, if this is going to be a thing. Halfway through number 5, Day and Night. Similar to how the Sun Guy animatronic has a day and night mode, the pizzeria could have a day and night mode as well. There could be some form of day-night cycle that occurs, giving us different things to do in both times. The story at night, but hopefully some minigames during the day, like maybe a laser tag minigame or a mini golf and go-kart minigame, you know? This actually makes me excited to think about. We do see clips of the game with both the lights on and off, and if I'm right about the Sun Guy, then we know there is a daytime in-game, since the Sun Guy exists. And we only see him during the day, when the lights are on at least. I just want to play laser tag with animatronics, and then I want them to add VR compatibility and let me play laser tag and mini golf with the animatronics in VR. Just please let this happen. Please, Sky Daddy Scott, I'm begging you, let this happen. Tell Steel Wool to add it and I will be eternally grateful. Yes, I called him Sky Daddy Scott. I'm clearly desperate. In at 4, Gregory is the key. Over the middle of the trailer we hear the lines, "You will bring me what I want, and if you fail, both of you will burn." While the emphasis on burn could be an indication of William being the one who talks, since, you know, he got kinda extra crispy at the end of FNAF 6, the thing that needs to be brought could very well be Gregory. We also hear Vanessa in the trailer saying, "I can help get you out of here, you and me, together." Why would we be hiding from her in the trailer as well if she's gonna help us get out? Because she isn't. She's instead going to bring us to Afton in order to sacrifice our life for William's. I mean, I don't think Gregory would willingly be helping William, right? At least if that was Vanessa talking instead of Vanny, since in the first trailer, Vanny also tries to lure us, saying that she has our friends. Oh god, are we gonna play another FNAF game where we as the player die at the end? How many times has this happened now? Like, 12? I don't know. Come on, dude. Don't do this to me again. In at 3, Gregory's the villain. Another potential calamity is that what if Gregory is the villain? We see him exploring the FNAF Pizzaplex, but we also see him exploring while Afton is saying, "You will bring me what I want." What if Gregory isn't the one that needs to be brought, but is the one who is going to bring? What if he's the one who shut off all the security cameras, hence why he was in the room when they were malfunctioning? He has a watch that can see all the cameras. What if that's because Afton gave it to him, or had Vanny give it to him? He's hiding from security because he knows he shouldn't be there. The animatronics are after him because they fixed their security issues that they had in FNAF 2. All this lines up if you think about it in the right way. It's all a matter of perspective. And Gregory could be the name of the crying child, the one that William put back together. Well, I mean, there is currently a theory going around that his name's like Paul or something like that, but, you know. In at 2, the Stitch Wraith. At the end of the trailer, we see the arm of some metal figure stretching out from behind a box and trying to claw his way out. This could be seen as many things, one of which is the Stitch Wraith. If you don't know who the Stitch Wraith is, the character was introduced and built up during the epilogues of each of the Fazbear Frights books. A character not too different from Ennard who is basically assembling themselves and has 2 souls possessing him. It's weird, but he's basically another naked endoskeleton that loves killing and collecting body parts. Yeah. We've been waiting to see if he'll be introduced into the games or the game world in some way. We even thought that he could be the main antagonist of Security Breach. And with this arm, it's possible that this is indeed the Stitch Wraith. The sounds that play are clanging and certainly metallic, and that claw is very reminiscent of how we've seen the Stitch Wraith in fan art, since to my knowledge, there has been no official image of the character, unless it's like in those like Funko action figures, where you like collect all the different pieces, like how you had to collect Scrap Baby with the sister location ones. There is, however, another explanation as to who this mysterious arm could be. Finally, in at number 1, Afton's back. The metallic arm, while yes related to the Stitch Wraith, could also be the arm of good old Willie Afton. You know, the one who went cutting up more than just pizza toppings at multiple Fazbear locations. Yeah, that guy. The arm could very well just be the arm of the Scrap Trap suit from FNAF 6. We learn based on the Fazbear Frights books that a man with terrible burns is being kept alive by the soul of a child, one of his victims, forcing the man to be tormented in life. So could it be that William never really died? Or has he been brought out of the world he was in Freddy's Fazbear Entertainment Experience? You know, the game we were playtesting and Help Wanted? Was his soul revived and put into an animatronic? Because it should be much more melted if it was actually Scrap Trap. The light reflecting on the arm is purple, suggesting a connection to the purple guy, who we all know by now is William. I and multiple people have said this time and time again, it's William, not Michael. You see, this is William, this is Michael. Let's take this and Get it out of there. And that tortured soul, assumingly Cassidy, was keeping him alive after the spring locking from the FNAF 3 cutscenes until he supposedly burned in FNAF 6, releasing his soul until it latched onto a hard drive that was scanned for AI and help wanted. Damn. This dude should be a motivational poster for perseverance. So it could be that the item we need to acquire is an endoskeleton for him to inhabit, and that Vanny will be able to bring him home, and then probably be killed once she does. But seriously though, where's the motivational poster of William Afton? And 10, true nature. The true nature of the characters we know of in Security Breach isn't certain, but we can get a pretty good idea thanks to Funko. Now, Funko has leaked some FNAF stuff before, I'm pretty sure with either their sister location or pizzeria simulator figures, but nonetheless, they've not leaked new characters, but released figures that help us get an idea about what gameplay is gonna be like. At least some of it. The Freddy and Gregory figure looks like it's really showing us gameplay mechanics, with Gregory hiding inside of Glamrock Freddy's stomach with Vanny looking at Gregory, reminding me of the final scene from that trailer. However, I think the biggest clue we can get is from the second statue, the one of Vanny and the unnamed security guard. Most people were already guessing that Vanny and the security guard were the same person, and this only lends to that idea. The guard is looking for Vanny most likely, but is totally ignoring her, while Vanny is standing, not hiding, with her hand over her mask's mouth. This is indicating to me that she keeps the other part of her silent, or perhaps wants us to, and the fact that the guard isn't very clearly looking at Vanny indicates that she probably doesn't want to find her. It's a basic Light Yagami and Kira situation. The one who's looking for the killer is the killer, therefore the killer will never be found. Unless they totally ruin the series, but whatever. I know a lot of people are calling the security guard Vanessa, but that's never been confirmed. And at 9, friend or foe. While we all know that Glamrock Freddy is going to be our ally, this was made evident thanks to the Funko statue or figure, or whatever you want to call it. But while we see Glamrock Freddy helping us, the same doesn't remain true for the others. We have no idea what Roxanne Wolf or Montgomery Gator will do for us, if anything. It could be that Vanny has corrupted them, since William is a form of code, or it could be something else entirely. They could just think that we're trespassing after hours. They certainly don't need to be corrupted. At this point, it's just highly likely that they are, or will be at some point in the story of the game. We've only been shown that one of the animatronics will be helpful, not necessarily the others. We won't know for sure until the game comes out. And it ain't motherly love. We don't know really who Vanny is, at least in relation to Gregory. She obviously knows him, but not because she's a security guard. She knows him better than that. I believe that Vanny or Vanessa will be the mother to Gregory, the child we likely play as. There are more indications of this being the case. One, the tone of the voice Vanny uses when talking to Gregory in the trailer. She knows him and she says that she has his friends. 2, why would Gregory be at the Pizzaplex at night unless he had a reason? He wouldn't break in, he's not old enough to be able to do that properly yet. And I'm not gonna say that he's not that kind of kid because we don't know, but he's definitely not able to do it properly. He's there because he's waiting for his mother to be done her shift. But then that's when everything goes haywire. Plus it makes the betrayal worse. It would also make sense as to why we, I don't know, are calling the cops. There's a murderous bunny on the loose, but let's just hide in the stomach of this giant bear and not let the authorities know. I don't think this kid is that stupid, but at this point it's unclear. And at 7, Moon Man. Cat's in the cradle with the silver spoon, little boy blue and the man in the moon. There are plenty of theories going around as to who the Moon Man is. You know who I'm talking about, that little balloon boy looking guy that was hanging around in the kitchen during the PS5 reveal trailer. I personally think that it's probably just going to be another version of Balloon Boy, but others think that it's Glitch Trap's henchman, or I even saw one saying that Moon Man was Glitch Trap keeping an eye on Vanny. And it kinda makes sense. I mean, it was in an elevated position, hiding away, hoping not to be seen. It was also before her, indicating that they came before, but it was also on a higher platform, showing that it is above her. The only thing that kinda proves this one wrong for me are the eyes. If it was really Glitch Trap in the animatronic and not just the Moon Man, I think the eyes would be purple or green instead of red, but they're red, so I mean I don't really know. I just think it's a Balloon Boy knockoff. And at 6, no animatronics. From what we can tell, at least to my knowledge, we don't have any other confirmed animatronics aside from the ones we've seen. Freddy, Roxanne, Montgomery, Chica, and Moon Man are the only ones to be guaranteed to make an appearance in some way. There are a couple places that list others like Ominous Lad and Sun Guy, but these cannot be 100% confirmed. We honestly don't know if there will be others, and it would kinda make sense for there not to be. Since the Pizzaplex is closed, most of the animatronics would be off. It's not like these ones are possessed and able to walk around without being powered, which makes me wonder why they're on to help Gregory in the first place. Maybe the whole Vanny mess with them thing is possible, and potentially more likely. As a security guard, they would have access to the animatronics and potentially know their way around said animatronics, but as far as we know, there isn't anything else. Halfway through number 5, VR. There are plenty of theories about security breach in virtual reality. Some think it will happen later down the line, others think it won't happen at all. I just hope that I get VR laser tag, that's all I want from this game. Some think the games will be ported to VR later on, since it's coming out on PlayStation, a console that is partially known for having VR support, the only one out of the big 3 to do so, may I add, with exclusive VR games like Iron Man VR, which I still want to play, but also because the last VR game was such a big success. I can't see them throwing away such an opportunity, especially if people like the game and want it to be in virtual reality. Plus, from the looks on their website, this is the first time Steelwool Studios has worked on a non-VR game, which to me indicates plans to add VR compatibility in the future, similar to how they added a FNAF Help Wanted flat mode after people were asking for it. Headed for a savior. The ability to pull Vanny out of her trance is an idea we've had from the start. This became more plausible when we see the conversation her and Glitchtrap were having in the source code of ScottGames.com, Scott's website, where Glitchtrap would say things like "don't let anyone lead you astray," indicating that he doesn't have full control over Vanny. Here is the full conversation. Stay the course. I will. Focus on my voice. I will. Don't let anyone lead you astray. I won't. Have you selected one? I have. Now I also want to mention something I don't think was there last time. The line "I won't" when referring to someone leading her astray has "I" and "won't" as 2 separate colors. Now a part of 2 different parts of the code. I don't think it was always that way, and maybe that's an indication of Glitchtrap losing his hold on Vanny, but that could also just be a glitch. There is also a font listed on the site labeled Verdana, which isn't actually used on the page. This is interesting because the name Verdana comes from the designer's eldest daughter Anna, and the word verdant, which is not only the name of Oliver Queen's club and arrow, but it also means something green, meaning that Anna, in this case Vanny, was possessed by something green, in this case Glitchtrap. I went into the history of a font for more information for a theory. Will MatPat notice me now? And at 3, betrayal. The potential betrayal of the animatronics has been tossed around as a possibility since, we thought they'd be helping you. Hell, I'm pretty sure I've said it multiple times on this channel, but that doesn't mean it is a guarantee. I don't know what's going to happen, but I feel like Scott of all people would make them betray us but then double back on it like a bad TV show retcon, but everyone would love it because it's Scott. No matter, I think the possibility of a trusted animatronic double cross is highly likely if not definite. Source, trust me bro. I think if it's going to happen, it would happen in the later stages of the game, but for the second time. They'll probably be sabotaged earlier, but we will fix them and then they'll only be revealed later to have never been fixed, and then boom, you get betrayed once more. But this time, we would have never seen it coming. And at 2, release date. My theory for the release date has actually passed at this point, so it could very well be that I was right. If I'm not, I'm sure there'll be a disclaimer or something. I don't need to do that because I know I wasn't right. Or you'll already know about it. Plus, if I'm right, then this whole video will be pointless because we won't need theories anymore, we'll have the actual game. Anyway, my theory was that the game should have been released on December 12th. I think this would have been the case because it was actually 87 days after the original trailer released at the Sony PS5 event. I think this would be a perfect time, and we all know Scott loves his dates. Not only is it 87 days after the reveal of the trailer, but it's also exactly 1 month after the PS5 released. It's during the holiday season where every kid will be asking for it along with a PlayStation, and Scott had done the whole 87-day thing before with the second FNAF game. FNAF 2 was released exactly 87 days after the first one as well, so in my mind this was a highly plausible scenario. However, if it was, like I said, this video would have been totally pointless, but hey, at least you realize that at number 2, right? But I also know for a fact that if I was right, so many people would be commenting telling me how these theories were wrong, okay? This was written before the game came out, and this actually it was written before it was recorded before the game came out. I can speak properly. And for those of you who don't believe me, watch our other security breach videos. I mentioned this theory there too. I decided to hold off on filming this so I could see if I was right, and I wasn't. So, but you already knew that because you started the video and it's already past Saturday. Time is weird. Finally, in at number 1, I always come back. William Afton, the purple guy, the man behind the slaughter, Glitch Trap, the man of many names, the breaker of chains, the mother of dragons. This guy has quite the rap sheet. Murder, manslaughter, kidnapping, more murder. This dude is a killing machine, but now he's actually dead, finally able to die after the soul of one of his victims left his body and entered the Stitch Wraith, where Afton's spirit then possessed a hard drive that was used to code the game FNAF Help Wanted. Well, at least the game we playtest in Help Wanted, the Freddy Fazbear virtual experience, where he attempts to meld with our mind and no matter what, succeeds. There are many theories floating around about this man, but one of the more likely ones is that he will return. Somehow, some way he will escape. Perhaps we free Vanny from his control but instead set his soul free. Perhaps he'll possess Gregory and end up growing up once again, although he'd have to go through puberty twice. Maybe he will just manifest, we don't know for sure. But what we do know is that I always come back.
I always come back.
And at 10, twins. The general consensus over the past little bit was that Vanny and Vanessa, who we're assuming is the security guard, are really the same person, living a double life like Hannah Montana, where you're a regular security guard during the day but a murderous homicidal maniac at night. Roxy like a puma. However, there is another theory that honestly makes just as much sense, that Vanny and Vanessa are actually twins. While yes, twins can look the same, they will be just as different as two people can be otherwise. Different personalities and lifestyles, different brains. It could just be that Vanny had the weaker mind, so William was able to control her more easily. Or since her sister worked as a security guard at a Fazbear joint, Vanny was ideal for the job of slaying as many children as possible. There are many ways that this could go, and the fact that this would also make more sense with the Funko statue, since Vanessa wouldn't expect the bad guy to be right beside her, as in her sister. You know, a metaphor. And at 9, Vanny is Glitch Trap. In the second trailer for Security Breach, we get some text glitching on screen. I cover in multiple videos that the glitches we see before and as the text appears has images of Vanny hidden within them. I mentioned this before, but this could be a reference to another hint towards Glitch Trap's involvement. The glitching text is no coincidence, Scott doesn't mess around with that, so Vanny appearing in the glitch text could be hinting at his control, or it could be that Vanny is Glitch Trap reincarnated. And I don't mean in a literal sense, like this is William's body, clearly it isn't, but while we thought he only had a hold on her, he could very well be controlling her entirely, or at least at night while she sleeps, like Bill Cipher from Gravity Falls. Glitch Trap could just be more than an influence in this case, hence why Vanny's promo picture said obey. Sure, it could be William fighting for control, but it could also be the secret word that grants him full mobility. And at 8, control. Speaking of William's control, I've seen another connection between Vanny and others. Why are Vanny's eyes glowing red? She isn't an animatronic, she's a human that's wearing a suit, right? And a suit with glowing eyes makes things nearly impossible to see. Ask any cosplayer who needs a handler. And I'm speaking from experience when I say that you need to be able to see while slaughtering countless younglings for the glory of the Empire. However, the other animatronics also have glowing red eyes. Are the red glowing eyes an indication of who William has control over? Vanny has red eyes, and in the State of Play trailer we see a focus on Chica, Roxy, and Monty having red eyes, in between glitching text. But Freddy is the only animatronic with no focus on glowing red eyes. Sure, he has some during the shot of all of them, but if he didn't, things would look weird. This could also be an indication of how he won't be under Afton's control until the end of the game. The Moo Man also has red eyes in both trailers, but the Sun Dune hasn't been shown with red eyes, but William probably doesn't use the animatronics during the day, because that just seems like a stupid idea. And at 7, prequel. Most assume this game takes place after Help Wanted, and that Vanny is William's protege. But what if Vanny is William's predecessor? It would explain why we see Vanny's mask in an old rundown cellar in Help Wanted. It's a memory. People also think the game takes place in the 80s, but if it does take place after Help Wanted, that would be impossible. The Freddy Fazbear virtual experience, the game we're playtesting in Help Wanted, is meant to be a VR game, with hand tracking, and not like the Virtual Boy I talked about in my very first list on the channel, where Nintendo made a VR headset that only showed red lighting. Plus, that was released in 1995, so even in the 80s we didn't have the technology required for virtual reality. And even if FNAF's world was advanced 10 years ahead of our technology, they would still be years behind. So what if this game game is really a ways before William's origin of sorts, where Freddy's was a big conglomerate that had nothing to do with murder. It makes some form of sense, even if it is fairly nuts. And at 6, we die. The whole series of Five Nights at Freddy's games is about not dying, surviving for 5 nights until 6 AM, or not dying while looking through a corn maze or completing a challenge. So this game will also involve not dying, obviously. But in multiple FNAF games, we have canonically died. FNAF 4, we die at our own birthday party, assuming we play as the crying child. In Sister Location, we get our insides scooped out and replaced with Ennard, thus making our bodies rot away. In FNAF 6, we burn in the fire at the end of the game. The main character dying is honestly common at this point in the series, so Gregory getting killed at the end of the game shouldn't be brushed off. It could be required to complete a resurrection ritual for William, or it could be that Glamrock Freddy betrays him at the end of the game, crushing him inside of his stomach. The possibilities are endless because we know it's highly likely that Gregory will die. Sorry dude, rip. Halfway through number 5, Fetch. But what if he doesn't? The story Fetch from the second Fazbear Frights book of the same name is the story of Greg, a high schooler that breaks into an abandoned Freddy's and finds an animatronic dog named Fetch that kills basically everything that messes with you or that you don't want in your life, or that you do want in your life, honestly. One theory suggests that perhaps Gregory and Greg are the same person, only aged up. Not only are their names similar, but looking at artwork for Fetch and how Greg is described in the book, it looks very similar to how we see Gregory in the Funko action figure and potentially the trailer. He may look blonde in the trailer, but that's probably because of the color of the lighting being white, which will wash out his hair color. This combined with a fascination for the Fazbear locations could mean that Gregory is Greg from Fetch, since as you get older you would probably go by Greg, so your mom could full name you when you got in trouble. And at 4, Gregory is crying. The crying child. He has no name, even if people are currently trying to work it out and have been calling him Chris for some reason. Not you, Chris, don't worry. The crying child first appeared in FNAF 4 and ends up getting chomped at the end of the game. William promises to put him back together, but what comes of that promise? I originally theorized that he was Michael, the older brother that we always see around the crying child. Link to that theory up in the iCard. But what if instead the crying child was resurrected as Gregory, and this is in fact his story? He could be resurrected in the 80s, hence the aesthetic, and having another killer running around could just be William using those sound illusion discs that he's probably been using on the crying child before. You know. Could the crying child we all know and call different names for some reason finally have a canonical name? Or could this combine with our next theory? Maybe this could be an in-universe game about the crying child, who the Scott stand-in decided to call Gregory. We'll only know when the game comes out. And a 3, in-universe game. We know for a fact that the world of FNAF got a whole lot more complicated when Scott openly inserted his own stand-in into the game lore, saying that an indie game developer made up games that ruined the reputation of the restaurants. Most people thought that those games would be the ones we played, you know, FNAF 1 to 6, but they never said which games are in-universe. The lore with all these games has lined up and the story makes sense. William burns in FNAF 6 but possesses a hard drive that gets scanned in how wanted. If those games were made up, that wouldn't line up so well. What if Security Breach is one of those games they were referring to? It would make sense. The killer isn't William, it's Vanny, because you would get sued for using his likeness. But still the same idea with the bunny costume, you're luring victims away from their families. And the animatronics are nothing like we've seen before. This also solves the timeline issue. The game itself takes place in the 80s, but that's because it's an in-universe game that perhaps William has invaded. Roxy and Monty are there to add more animatronics without infringing too much copyright. And we've never seen Fazbear Inc. have a place like Pizzaplex. And how would it be successful after so many stories of murder and death? Unless the VR horror experience from Help Wanted somehow worked to improve the rep of the company. Like, that makes no sense to me. If you, like, end up having 15 missing children at your place, you don't upgrade, okay? You shut down. And at 2, FNAF Multiverse. The FNAF Multiverse, or at the very least extended universe, could be coming our way very soon. Scott has started actually putting money towards the next installment in some fan game series, most notably Five Nights at Candy's 4 and the Joy of Creation Ignited collection, even helping them with distribution and getting retail sellers interested. But he's also staying out of development, allowing the creators to make the games they want. However, each one of these games he's funded has some form of connection to the main FNAF canon in their history, meaning that there could be an extended universe of FNAF that is canon once these games exist. Remember a long time ago I theorized that these fan games, or at least some of them, would become canon to the series? That could be what's happening now, and if that isn't the case, the FNAF Multiverse will be canon. That could also explain the difference in designs between the Funko action figures and the designs we see in the latest trailer. Those action figures are the characters from another Earth instead of the main Earth that we see these games take place in. This could also explain any continuity issues from game to game. The tiny details that don't fit in is because it's another universe instead of the main one. Finally, in at number 1, Vanessa Afton. We know the security guard's name is most likely Vanessa. However, there are some distinct similarities we have yet to discuss that Amanda actually pointed out to me. In a previous thumbnail, I put Clara Afton confirmed, pointing at Vanessa with purple eyes, but her eyes are really green, the same color as Baby after being possessed by Elizabeth Afton. Green eyes are weird because they're recessive to brown eyes but dominant to blue, meaning if one parent has green eyes and one has blue, the baby will most likely have green eyes. And it's possible that William has blue eyes, or even green eyes. If we go off the color purple, blue is the closest thing to it out of eye color, so it's very possible that their child would have green eyes. Even if he had brown eyes, it's possible that their child's eyes would still be green. If anything, they would have to have a green-eyed parent. Not only that, but Elizabeth and Vanessa are both blonde, a recessive trait. So yet another connection to Elizabeth. We know Scott has a fascination with eye color, so that has to mean something. Not only that, but they also share a voice actor. Emily doesn't talk, it's true, but Baby does after being possessed. Baby is voiced by Heather Masters. Masters also voices Scrap Baby in FNAF 6 and Ultimate Custom Night, as well as the Plush Babies, Plushkins, and 8-Bit Baby. She also voices Vanessa as confirmed by IMDb listings. This is too much to not go anywhere, okay? There has to be something here.